Loyalty, deception, honor, and betrayal. The game begins anew when the epic series Game of Thrones returns. Just one part of your free preview of HBO Max. You'll experience all the must-see originals and the biggest Hollywood movies you won't want to miss. Watch it all anytime. There's nothing else like it. Don't miss a free preview of HBO Max Friday, March 29th until Monday, April 1st. Sign up for HBO and Max and get your first month free. Call 601-8992 or visit cablebahamas.com to subscribe today.
Good evening, Bahamas. This is NB12 broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. One man in custody in connection with the shooting of a senior officer, but the manhunt continues for a second suspect. Police investigating an afternoon murder in eastern New Providence. The prison handed over to new leadership, plus world-famous athletes arrive in the Bahamas. Those stories and much more on the way. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and NB12 starts right now. Thanks again for joining us here at NB12. It's been nearly 24 hours since Superintendent Clayton Fernander was shot outside his home in the St. Vincent Road area last night. But the manhunt for those believed to be responsible continues, even though one man is in custody. Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade today provided an update on Fernander's condition, the investigation, and the status of another officer who is believed to have been shot last night. Greenslade said Assistant Commissioner Anthony Ferguson and a special team have been working tirelessly since Fernander was shot shortly before 10. Greenslade didn't go into much detail, but he confirmed that a 23-year-old suspect he described as a bad man was taken into custody in the Faith Gardens area shortly before 4 this afternoon. He said an illegal pistol was also recovered from the suspect, as well as ammunition. However, police are still on the lookout for 21-year-old Lyndon Bethel, also known as XL Josie of Dignity Gardens. Bethel is wanted in connection with attempted murder. Greenslade said police commissioners throughout the Caribbean have been alerted to look out for Bethel at all ports.
We would wish the public to turn this young man in. He is well known to the police. He is well known to members of the public. The streets know this young man and where he is, and we're asking again for family and friends, relatives, to turn him in. The quicker, the better. Let's get this young man into police custody so that the law might take its course. I'd like to do that in an upstanding way, and I'm making that appeal in the most professional way that I know how. We have lots of officers out there seeking his whereabouts. These officers will, through the afternoon and into the night, execute search warrants. They're going to knock on doors, and they will do whatever the law authorizes them to do, and to use whatever force is necessary in the execution of their duties.
Fernander was shot several times and suffered injuries to the chest and right hand. The man reportedly fled the area, traveling west along St. Vincent Road in a white Honda Accord. Greenslade said Fernander's right hand was so badly mangled that it may have to be amputated. Last night, the commissioner added that Fernander didn't have time to defend himself with his firearm.
There was an attempted robbery, and within split seconds of that attempt, two gunmen opened fire on him, obviously within the intention of causing serious harm to him, and certainly to the extent of killing him. Being a very trained officer, Mr. Fernander did the best he could to survive. We thank God that he has survived. The bandits ran off after causing significant harm to Mr. Fernander.
This afternoon, Greenslade added that police believe both suspects opened fire on Fernander at point-blank range after allegedly robbing him. The commissioner also said that Fernander remains a resolute soldier who is upbeat and not down for the count.
And I'm not going to hesitate to say it. Were not for divine providence, God Almighty, I'm not certain that he'd be alive. Mr. Fernander was wearing some jewelry, and a bullet ricocheted off some of that jewelry at the level of his upper left chest. And from my police experience and the officers around us last night, we are truly amazed it's nothing short of a miracle. Had he not been wearing that chain with a medallion, this could be a very, very different conversation.
Greenslade could not say whether the culprits knew that Fernando was a senior police officer, but did say that the Bahamas is a small place and the superintendent is well known, especially to criminals. And while police were at the hospital dealing with the shooting of that veteran officer, a younger officer attached to the Carmichael Road police station, referred to only as Constable Brown, pulled up to the front entrance covered in blood.
Indicated that he suspected he had been shot to the head, and we saw blood stains on his clothing. He was rushed into the trauma room. I was able to see him up close and personal, but in that short space of time from the front door of the hospital into the trauma room, he lost consciousness and he is not in a good condition. We're hoping that he will survive. We don't have much information.
However, Greenslade said it is unclear whether the young officer was shot. At last report, he was in critical condition and remained unconscious. Police say they will leave no stone unturned in the search for Bethel. Greenslade called on members of the public to stand with the police force against criminality. Last night, the commissioner said he has always been concerned about attacks on civilians, but when police officers are attacked, it shows that criminals have reached a new level.
Where criminals are emboldened to the extent that they're now prepared to take on senior police officers who are armed, that is, senior officers being armed and being attacked, it tells us that we've gone to a totally different zone of criminality. If you have guns, we ask you to put them down. I'm going to say again, if you confront a police officer with a gun, there's a good chance that you're going to lose, and you probably will be shot and killed. I'm going to make no apologies for that.
Meantime, the Minister of National Security is also weighing in on the overnight incidents that left 2 police officers recovering in hospital. Christina McNeil has more in this report.
Minister of National Security Dr. Bernard Nottage today expressing concern over the overnight shooting of 2 police officers. However, he says he does not consider it an attack on the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Despite the shootings, Nottage says he does not believe the time has come for more drastic measures to be taken. When asked if a national curfew may be pending to help curb crime, Nottage said no, as crime statistics show that the figures are down compared to the same period last year.
No. Firstly, I share the concern, of course, with the level of crime, but I don't think that things have gotten significantly worse than they were this time last year or the year before. So I do not think that a curfew is necessary. The figures show that. Even with whatever happened this afternoon, the figures still show that we are well behind where we were this time last year. And it is my hope that the work that we are doing and continuing to do will maintain the downward trend.
Nottage says both matters are still under investigation, but he is confident that police are making significant progress on the seemingly random shootings that left a top cop injured.
When anybody gets shot, it's an issue and a problem so far as I'm concerned. I was just happy that the injuries suffered were not life-threatening, and I understand that both of the persons who are alleged to have been shot are doing quite well today. The information that I have does not suggest that that is the case. I think it was probably it was more likely to be a random event. There are some queries about the second event in any case, and so I think that the evidence so far suggests that it was random, and I understand that the police have some very strong leads, so we should have the matter cleared up pretty shortly.
These incidents come in the wake of claims of police brutality and the launch of inquests into the deaths of 2 men who died while in police custody. MB12 asked Nottage to respond to members of the public who may say attacks on police are warranted. Nottage says once Bahamians recognize the role they can play in fighting crime, he believes overall crime will see a sharp decline.
Well, that is a foolish assertion. People would say that so long as they are not themselves affected. But if they or a member of their family is affected, I think the minds or the words on that would change pretty quickly. Each of us has a responsibility to seek to secure the safety and security of ourselves and the rest of our citizens. And what we need, rather than talk like that, is an understanding of the members of the public about what each of our responsibility is. Because let's face it, if each of us accepts our responsibility, crime would be at a minimum.
Nottage has said on more than one occasion he would like to launch a crime forum, inviting members of the public to present solutions to crime issues affecting their communities in a joint effort with the Ministry of National Security and the police force. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Well, police are also busy with an investigation of another kind. It was a tragically familiar scene in a Fox Hill community this afternoon as loved ones wailed after yet another man was murdered on New Providence. Police say the unidentified man was sitting in front of a home on Bartlett Street off Johnson Road with two other men around 1:30 when a light-skinned black male wearing a blue hooded jacket emerged from bushes across the street. Head of the Central Detective Unit Superintendent Paul Roll said the hooded man pulled out a handgun and opened fire, causing the three men to scatter. The deceased ran into the house but was hit multiple times.
Once this took place, a gold-colored Honda Accord came through the corner and the assailant got into this vehicle and they drove off, leaving this area. We are appealing to members of the public who may have information regarding this latest homicide to give us a call so that we can act on it and try to bring this one to a speedy resolution.
The man died inside the house. Roll said it was too early to establish a motive, although police believe the victim, believed to be in his 30s, was targeted. Superintendent Elaine Sands, who heads the Eastern District, made this plea to young men who may be in trouble.
I just want to appeal to all of those young men out there who are experiencing challenges, who believe they may become a victim to murder, and they have information that can assist the police in prevention. I'm just appealing to them to come forward.
Well, just 4 days after a 36-year-old man was robbed and shot, the two men police believe killed him were brought before the courts. Celeste Nixon has more in this report.
The two men police believe were behind the shooting death of 36-year-old Domingo Duncan last Sunday were arraigned on murder charges today before Deputy Chief Magistrate Carlita Bethel.
It is alleged that 25-year-old Dominic Thompson of Churchill Drive and 22-year-old Julian McKenzie of Albatross Avenue killed Duncan on April 7, 2013. Police say Duncan was walking to his truck on Blue Hill Road when he was attacked. Thompson and McKenzie were also charged with armed robbery. Both were not required to enter a plea to the charges, and bail was denied. In a separate matter, Thompson, along with 25-year-old Evan Ferguson, were charged with armed robbery. On April 7th, it is alleged that Thompson and Ferguson robbed Jeffrey Rogers of a cell phone, watch, gold chain, and cash. The accused were not required to enter a plea, and bail was denied.
Both Thompson and McKenzie have been remanded to Her Majesty's Prison until June 15, 2013. They will return on that date before Chief Magistrate Roger Gomez for service of a voluntary bill of indictment. Reporting for NB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.
Coming up after the break, news from the Coroner's Court. Stay with us.